Lying about the biological identity of one's parents is abusive. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed psychotherapist. Many years ago when I was in grad school, I did a dissertation study for my doctoral program about African American women who were psychologically abused by their parents while growing up. And one of the themes that I did not expect would come out of interviewing these women, but which came up a lot, was there's been quite a few Black women apparently who have who their mothers specifically lied to them about the identities of their father. They either lied to them or they withheld the identities of their fathers, and they sort of dangled it as a carrot over their head, like, maybe I'll tell you one day. Or they would sort of make up these sort of magical, whimsical stories for years and years, and like the stories would change. He's a sailor, he's a pilot, he's this, he's that, he's any number of people. And Black women that I interviewed and talked about how they were tormented by this, because it's it's always an aspect of themselves that they're looking for. They're always trying to find their father. They're trying to find out where they belong. They're trying to find that other half of that family that they've never been allowed to connect with, and their mother is sort of lying about it. And it could be any number of reasons, but it was also a form of manipulation, right? In that they would tell them these lies and, just sort of lead them on. And there wasn't really any clarity around why their mothers would do that. But they talked about, just sort of feeling tormented by that. And, if they grew up in an abusive family, a lot of times what abuse victims will look for is like any semblance of hope. And so maybe there's some semblance of hope in the family that they don't know, or they never got to know, unfortunately. And so this TikTok or this video is specifically for people that their parents intentionally withheld the identity of the other parent. And I don't like to mention names on here, but there's actually a TV show that was on a few years ago about and you got to see this play out actually in real time with a woman who did this to her daughter. And again, the narrative was very similar in that she sort of dangled it as a carrot, and the narrative around her father would always change, and it would be this and that. And then it just became this, it's been actually quite a few people I've seen this on national television. And it's just sort of this torment of like, where do I fit in? Where do I belong? Because like my mother has been telling me all these years that I don't belong with her. I can't connect with her. I'm just always searching for that other side of myself. And that's a real sore spot for a lot of people. And this video isn't necessarily for people who, were fostered or adopted and things like that. That can be a bit different unless you're actively seeking and someone knows and they're keeping that, whatever the case may be, there. But I'm talking about people that just grew up normally and were raised by a single parent or something of that nature, and their parents maliciously or just use that as a point of manipulation, and it would always be something on television. And even in the study that I did with these women, that they were always sort of begging for that piece of information, even if it was bad. They could deal with it. I just want to know, and it would be like, no, I'm not telling you, or I'm going to tell you what I want to tell you, which is not even close to the truth. All right.